We all know that harvesting is one of my favorite things to do. So now that we are here, we want to essentially harvest some purple basil. Many people use purple basil or basil in general in their everyday cooking for garnishes, pastas, you name it, you can use it, pestos, etc., etc. But using purple basil and pesto gives it a darkish tint, kind of like an ugly little color, and some may say it even looks gross. So what I'm going to do today is show you a little bit of what I'm going to do with my basil, purple basil in particular, because I really, really, really love the fragrance of it. And so we're going to take it from garden and we're going to make a creation out of it. So follow me along so we can get right down to it, to the creation of what we're going to do with this purple basil today. First things first, we must harvest. All right, let's go. Everyone knows that I am very particular about the way in which I harvest the purple basil here. So we see it looks very full, very pretty. And there is some discoloration, like one would think that the purple basil would stay purple, but the longer it stays on, the more it turns different colors, and also based on sunlight and things as such. So today I'm going to go in and harvest a bit of this purple basil. I'm going to take it, and as you can see, I'm not going to completely clip a whole leaf. I'm going to go in and clip it right above the little node here. It's going to grow out again here and here. And I'll go closer to the top. See if we could get a little closer to the top here. Up. Go a little closer to the top and see if we can grab more of it. Let's try to get this one. It's a little shadow there. Clip this. And if we go down a little bit more, try to clip some at the bottom. Go in here, clip here, clip this little side shoot. It's gonna keep growing out, so happy about that. So go here, clip it right above. It's the big leaf node. And we're essentially clipping enough so that we have enough to put in the upcoming creation. So it's leaning over, but it's okay. Boom. And let's try to get another. And it's beautiful, very fragrant. My hands smell like basil. It's gonna be delicious. So here we go. We've clipped enough of the very delicious, fragrant, just, oh my God, it just smells so good, purple basil. So now let's take this in the kitchen, get it rinsed off really, really good, and see what type of creation we're gonna make today. Let's get to creating. All right, now we're back in the kitchen. So one of the things that I'm gonna make today that we didn't discuss in the garden, this is garden to creation, is how I'm gonna make something out of my purple basil in this very small kitchen of mine. It's not gonna be like the hot sauce where I'm gonna be basically choking to death and dying in this kitchen, but this time we're gonna make something more fragrant and floral. And you saw me smelling it out in the garden. So one of the things that I did before even thinking about making this particular thing was I did a lot of YouTube and Google searches. And in doing that, I was trying to find a way, the best non-messy, less work way to make basil oil. So that's what we're going to make today. Okay, so first things first. For basil oil, because I did a lot of research ahead of time, I was trying to figure out what is the best bottle to put it in. So a lot of people say that you store it in these glass bottles. They store really well. But when I got the glass bottles, an added feature that it included in it was a top that pretty much drizzles. So the reason why I'm making the basil oil is because I essentially wanted to put on salads, to sprinkle in any, pasta dishes that I may make. And so today I have the top that comes on it regular, but it also has a sprinkle top that I could put on top of the bottle here. So here are some of the things that we need for the basil oil. Very simple. Um, First thing we need here is I'm going to use in my recipe today extra virgin olive oil. So these bottles are 8-ounce bottles. My intention is only to make two. So I need at least 16, and I'm going to overdo it a little bit because I know that as I'm pouring it and straining it, I may lose a little bit. So at least 16 ounces of olive oil. And the best part about it is you don't need much. I'm going to use the purple basil that we just harvested today. The first things first is I'm going to rinse and thoroughly dry the basil leaves. So when I was Googling and doing all the research and all the things, what they did say was once you get it, you clean it, you can use the stems and leaves and everything in the pot. But I want to make sure that I completely dry the leaves off because I don't want to put it in some pretty, it's not going to be like frying oil, but I'm going to get the oil to be a very medium temperature so that when I toss a leaf or whatever in the pot, it doesn't like start popping. So it has to be very low heat. But in order for it to not pop, I have to get the leaves completely dry after I wash it. So those are the only two ingredients. And one of the things that we're going to do is, as you'll see as we go along, is I'll need a strainer, a measuring cup, the bottles, a saucepan, and the basil. So, very easy recipe. I found it online. Online, they use green basil, but because I love the fragrance of purple basil, I'm going to use the purple basil. And what I'm more curious to see is the tint of the basil oil once it's completely done. So let me wash off this basil, get it completely dry, and I will have show you what it looks like as we start preparing it. While I am heating up the oil, I have it on two very low, very low heat here. I'm trying to do, I guess, a thorough job um, drying the basil off. Kind of more time consuming than I thought it would be. Um, so yeah, I'm sorry, I can't help but smell it because it smells so good. So here's what it's looking like. Getting it as dry as I could get it, possibly putting it in my little bowl here. I rinsed it really good because what we don't want is any creepy crawlers getting in. Although I'm sure that if we had creepy crawlers and because we're going to strain it, I'm pretty sure that once it hits the oil, it would fry. So, but in any event, we don't want any creepy crawlers or anything of the sort in this basil oil. So I'm going to finish drying this and then test out the oil in a few and see what we could do. This is so in comparison to the other recipes that I saw, some recipes wanted you to chop up and put the oil and the basil together inside of a blender, but I don't want to do that in particular. That's kind of messy, and I'm hoping this isn't as messy. And I may have more basil than I need to put in this oil because maybe because my saucepan is super duper, it's not super big, but it's bigger than the amount of oil that I need. And I actually poured in, if you saw when I was doing it in the measuring cup earlier, I poured in more than what I needed. Like I said, I don't know when I start straining it and once it heats up, I don't think that oil evaporates, but I wanted to be safe because I do want to fill both bottles. Use one for myself. I might gift one, so you never know. And yeah. Um, the other thing is I was reading that the purple basil has like a very clove-like taste, and that might be why I like the way it smells so much. That leaf almost fell there. The oil might be heated up enough. So, like I said, I'm gonna test a few of the leaves here to see if the, oh, drop one, to see if the oil is too hot for it. So let's check it out. Let me just, and see what happens. So I'm gonna take, I'm not gonna stick my hand in there because I don't want to burn myself, but I just want to see if it'll fry. It doesn't. So I'm gonna let it heat up a little bit more. I don't want it to fry, but I want it to get heated up enough to where when I break up the basil and I put it in there, I can pretty much just stir it in there together. I'm gonna let it sit on very low heat for a while, remove it from the heat, and then we'll come back and strain it. But like I said, I don't want to put my hand too much in there. Um, my intention on the basil oil is to saute some tomatoes with actual basil and put the basil oil and put it in pasta and make myself a pasta dish. I could use it in pestos. I could use it in just regular pasta dishes, and I could use it in salads. I can add the basil oil with some balsamic vinaigrette dressing, or, just whatever oil and vinegar that I want to use. And this is just something that I'm adding to my repertoire, because at the end of the day, we all want to grow something and make something of it. So we grew it in the garden and now we're making a creation out of it. And you never know, it could also become gifts for those that may watch. Maybe we'll do a giveaway one day, and also gifts for family members and whomever else that we come in contact with. It's just something to give someone from the garden. So now I'm starting to see the oil bubble up a little bit, which I think that means it's time. Um, like I said, you could put the stems and everything on the inside. We're not going to actually eat the basil itself, but you don't have to chop it up. I'm just going to put the basil in here, stem and all. I heard that the basil is just as fragrant. Just rip it up and put it in there. Let me turn it down some more, because like I said, I don't want it to fry or anything like that. Plus, no one would want to be popped by grease here. So I'm just going to cut up the basil in here. Let it simmer down for as long as we can. Then I'm going to take the strainer that I have. This is still a little wet, so go in, take this. This actually might be a little bit too much basil, so I'm going to store some of it. So I'll leave the long piece, put it in some water. So I'll put this in some water. Maybe we could propagate some more. And just get a spoon here, a little tiny spoon, and just essentially metal it down in there. What I may do, even though I did measure out the olive oil to go in these bottles, I'm actually thinking what I may do is just add some more olive oil in here. And I have squeeze bottles as well. So this also keeps the oil itself from overheating. So I'm just going to grab the lid to this pot and let it sit here, simmer, and not fry. Still smells like regular olive oil for now, but let's let it simmer for a while. We'll come back in about 15 minutes, remove it from heat, and let it sit. Here we go. We're ending the simmer now. Now, once we turn the stove off, I'm going to move it to a different eye and just let it sit for the next 2 to 4 hours so that all of the basil flavors can get deeply into the oil. We finally let the basil oil cool off. It has steepered for quite a few hours now. And now it's time to essentially pour it back into the measuring cup and then use a funnel to put it into the glasses. Now, I have a funny feeling I made way more than these 2 bottles. So let's see how much we can make and let's see how easy the process is. So I have a strainer here. The strainer is pretty much going to help me get the oil inside of the measuring cup to pour it into the bottles and strain off any of the excess oil, trying to keep as much of it as we can. So let's get going. And first of all, we'll just try it, see how it goes down. It still looks pretty yellow to me. It's not purple at all, but I can smell it, so I know it smells a little bit differently. So let me put this down here. And it looks like I have like color inside of the... All right. So I think I put this over in the sink. Smells like basil. So I'm just pressing it down to try to get as much of the oil off of the basil as possible through the strainer. I almost want to strain it twice, but online they didn't strain it twice, so I'm not going to strain mine twice. But it looks a little cloudy. Hopefully it's okay. I think it's okay. I have a smaller strainer that I'm thinking about straining it again, but I think I got everything out. All right, so let's take a look to see what all we have here. I don't know if you can see it through there, but kind of still looks like olive oil to me. Same, it's a slightly darker tint, I guess. But yeah, why is this leaking? It's always something, always. So let me try to put it in the bottles because I don't know if this measuring cup has a little hole. So I sanitized these bottles already, and let's just try to pour it in without making too much of a mess. Here we go. Not gonna fill it. So that's 1 bottle. I can kind of almost see like little purple particles, but who knows? It has these little seal tops. So I read that, oh, I broke this one. I read that I can hold these. They can be held up for months if you put them in a dark place and you seal the bottle. So that is the intention here, is to seal at least one of these bottles, put it in a dark place for future use. If you want to use it fairly quickly, they say that you should put it in the refrigerator for you could put it in the refrigerator for 5 to 10 days, or you could just simply, take it in and out. So when you want to use it, take it out of the refrigerator prior to use. See, let's get this in here. I want to put about the same amount in each. So hopefully it's okay. And just for the sake of showing you, I think these little tops are cool. You just put it on there, and I'm pretty sure you could just pretty much just drip it in. But for now, since I want to store it, I'm going to take the drip top off, put the little sealer caps back on. I am going to try to put a label on this bottle so I know exactly what date I made it. So I can see how long they will last. And these lids come with caps. Clearly I got it from Amazon because they sell these type of things. And then I knew that I had made too much, so I'm going to use the rest in this bottle, and this one will be one that I'll either give to a friend or just use it myself. I'm going to try to keep most of the little particles out of it. All right, so here we go. And then I could pretty much use this myself. Let's see how I like it. Um, so this is just one of the techniques I found online. One of the other techniques is when they blended the olive oil with the basil. I gotta be careful with this because it kind of ripped at the top. See there? So when I go to take it off, I might have to pry it off with a knife. All right, I'll get that in a few. Wash it off. So what I think I'm gonna do is, just because this didn't turn out the way I thought it was, but I'm very happy to have done it, I'm gonna try another method in another video of blending the basil and putting them in a very fine strainer and that method, and then I'm going to compare the differences. So thank you everybody for joining me. If you have any comments or suggestions, please put it in the comment section. And this time, happy growing to creating. So stay tuned, make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video when we try something a little bit different. Happy gardening, happy creating.